Hello friends, good evening and welcome to our Zoom channel where we will in a moment be having our Malawi cross-party group of the Scottish Parliament. This evening we've got a really inspiring case study of collaboration between Malawi and Scotland with a number of fantastic Malawian and Scottish speakers. My name is David Hope-Jones. I'm the Chief Executive of the Scotland-Malawi Partnership and the Secretary of the Malawi cross-party group. Don't panic, I haven't been elected to the Scottish Parliament. I am not an MSP and hence I'm not convening this meeting. But Liam McArthur, who is convening this evening's meeting, is just finishing up in a vote that was moved a little later than today, and he'll be joining us probably in just five or 6 minutes or so. But given that our digital waiting room was entirely without any biscuits or magazines, we thought it would be hospitable to invite you into the body of the kirk, and we could use this time to have a wee blether amongst ourselves before the meeting formally starts. I've asked Liam McArthur's office just to interrupt us when Liam arrives, and apologies if anyone is speaking when he does, but we will start the meeting formally then. But at its core, the relationship between Scotland and Malawi is about people-to-people friendship. So we thought it was a bit cold to leave you out in the digital waiting room, and better to use this time to chat and introduce yourself. If you would like to just have 30 seconds, introduce yourself, please put your hand up digitally now or wave with your video on. And while we wait for our first brave soul to volunteer themselves to introduce themselves, what I will say is in the chat box, my colleague Craig is very kindly going to put the hyperlink which takes you to the minutes of the last meeting. Just if you were at the last Malawi cross-party group, do have a look at that, check them over, and it will help expedite things when Liam arrives if we have a proposer and seconder of those minutes. But I think that's everything I wanted to say. And I can see Mick and Kate have got their hand up digitally there. So Mick and Kate, please do take the conch and introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Just wanted to introduce ourselves. I'm Mick James. This is my wife, Kate. And we've been working with Tafika for about 2 years now, a really inspiring group of individuals. And I really hope that you guys enjoy the story that they're going to tell. And if anyone has any questions for any of the partners who've been working with them or for ourselves at the end of the meeting, then please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks ever so much, Mick and Kate. If anyone else wants to introduce themselves, just unmute yourself and say hi. I can see Cindee Rood. Over to you, Cindee.
Hi, everybody. My name is Cindee Rood. I'm the founder and executive director of an organization called Formidable Joy. We work on water projects in Malawi. I've been working in Malawi for about 8 years now, and about 1-year-old relationship with Tafika. So I look forward to telling you more about it.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Cindee. My apologies for mispronouncing your name. The font size on my wee screen is not ideal. Anyone else just unmute to say hi.
Hi, this is Willan Kalinda, director of Bananabox in Malawi.
Willan, wonderful to have you with us this evening. Always a pleasure. Where are you? Are you up in Mzuzu today?
Yes, I'm in Mzuzu.
Fantastic. Thrilled to have you with us, Willan. Welcome to the virtual Scottish Parliament.
Thank you.
Anyone else just unmute and say hi.
Hello, I wonder if you can see me. My name is Dezie Trigu. I work for Classrooms for Malawi. Sorry, we have a blackout here, so you won't be able to see me. And I've been working for Classrooms for Malawi for about now 5 years. I'm based in Blantyre. Thank you.
Fantastic, Dezie. Thanks ever so much. We'll be testing your laptop battery tonight. I suspect all of us taking part in tonight's meeting have been there and suffered those power shortages. So all power to you for joining our meeting. Anyone else would like to introduce themselves, please do just unmute and say hi.
Good evening, good afternoon. My name is Donald Mavindidze, and I'm the regional director for HarvestPlus. Actually based in Nairobi, although I lived in Malawi for some time. At HarvestPlus, we are all about nutrition and trying to see how we can deliver micronutrients through staples. And we've been partnering with Tafika, and you'll hear more about our program as we tell our story. But with me on this platform today is the country manager for the HarvestPlus program, and I'd like to ask him to also introduce himself. Over to you, Delings.
I am Delins Piri, the country manager for HarvestPlus in Malawi. I've been with HarvestPlus for about 5 years now, but working with Tafika for a year right now. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Donald and Dellings. Delighted that we have a Nairobi contingent to this evening's meetings. Please just unmute if you'd like to say hi before we start the meeting proper.
Hello, everyone. I'm Josephine Mpango, and I am a Program Partner Support Officer with Mary's Mills, and currently based in Malawi, working with the Tafika team, some of the partners within the southern region of Africa and the Middle East.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Josephine. Always wonderful to have you with us. On the basis that everything's better than either me prattling on or awkward silence, I'm going to pick on people. Chrissy, do you want to say hi? And then Jane.
Hi, sure. So Chrissy Hurst from Cora Foundation. Delighted to be here and see so many familiar and new faces this evening.
Thanks ever so much. And Jane, if you want to say hi. Sorry, I'm just picking on people who have their videos on.
Hi everyone, I'm Jane Hutchison and I work in the office of Stephen Kerr, who is the Scottish Conservative MSP, and I'm representing him tonight. Very glad to be here.
Thrilled to have you with us, Jane, and we'll get started very, very shortly. I don't think, have we heard from Callum Fisher yet?
No, you haven't. Hi, everybody. Nice to be here. It's my first time joining. So I work for Neil Bibby MSP, who's a Labour MSP. In a previous life, though, I have a PhD in Malawian politics and I've lived in Malawi for a number of years. My research was on the working lives of members of parliament. So I spent a couple of years following MPs around, mostly in their constituencies. So I'm very glad to be here. And thanks very much and look forward to the meeting.
Callum, delighted to have you with us. There's a great fact that 45% of Scots can name a friend or family member with a connection to Malawi. And I think looking at the MSP staff members with us tonight, I think that's borne out pretty well. I won't ask if in your memoirs you'll be juxtaposing the lives of Malawian MPs and the lives of Scottish parliamentarians, but look forward to reading it. Please do put up your hand. I can see Nourishing Minds, I think, has put up a digital hand. Please feel free to introduce yourselves.
Hello, I'm Jane Brewer. This is my husband, Han Brewer. I'm the founder and president of Nourishing Minds, and this is the first time we're joining the Scotland-Malawi Partnership meeting.
Fantastic. Thanks ever so much, and great to have you with us again. If you've just joined, we'll be getting started with the meeting proper very shortly. We're required constitutionally to wait until the MSPs are with us, and with a vote that was pushed back in the Scottish Parliament from this afternoon, we're expecting our MSPs to arrive any moment. I don't know whether Gift Thompson, if you wanted to say hi.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, hello everyone. My name is Gift. I'm from Malawi, as David has introduced. So I'm Gift Thompson. I'm from Malawi. I'm currently a student. I've just finished my degree actually, but I'm also the one of the youngest board member for the Scotland-Malawi Partnership, as well as a charity called Staker Skills. And I'm from Staker, so I'm based in Blantyre in Malawi. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks ever so much, Gift. And before people figure out that I'm picking on people with their videos still on, I'm going to be mean and say Ray French. If you want to say hi, you're most welcome to.
There you go. That's extremely unkind. You've picked on me. My name's Ray French. I was originally an employee of the University of Edinburgh, responsible for the governance of clinical trials that the university was running in Malawi. Thanks to COVID, I retired just over a year and a half ago, and I am now attempting to expand my contacts with Malawi with a view to embellishing the facilities and resources of some of the sports academies that we're attempting to engender links with, and I think the Tafika element here may come into play in that, and I'm very interested to hear what else is going on there. that's me.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Ray. And we've had a couple of really interesting conversations about sports for development partnerships between Scotland and Malawi, potentially a piece of work upcoming in September. So I will contact you straight after this meeting, and great to have
Excellent. That's good to hear.
Hearing lots of great things about your work. Again, in the spirit of picking on people, Liza, I don't know if you want to say hi.
Hello, everyone. It's actually pronounced Lisa, but it is spelled Liza. I am the executive director of Maloto, which is the U.S. funding organization for 3 programs in Mzuzu, all founded by a Malawian, Anna Mosawoya Keys. We have the Kwitu CBO, Mzuzu International Academy, and the Kwitu Kitchen Business. Anyway, someone just mentioned that this was happening, and I thought I would join just to connect and hear what other people are saying about the work that they're doing in Malawi.
Fantastic. Well, you're most welcome. Delighted to have you with us, and my apologies for the mispronouncing your
no worries. No worries.
Name. Just unmute yourself and jump in and say hi if you would like to introduce yourself and you haven't had a chance yet.
Hello, I'm Emma Wood from the charity Stecker Skills and also Queen Margaret University. I'm very much looking forward to hearing about this great community-led collaboration tonight. It sounds great. We collaborate with Stecker Children's Home, Malawi, much more than that, inspirational place in Malawi, run by the Children's Rights campaigner, God knows Maseko, and Giv Thompson, who you heard from earlier.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Emma. That's great and brilliant to have you with us as always. Again, just unmute, say hi if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, this is Lucy Huno from Link Education International, and we've got a few programs in Malawi. One is Team Go Malawi, which is an education project funded by the UK government, and the other one is Reaching Our Goals, which is a Comic Relief Scottish government funded project doing netball. So anything to do with Sport for Change, David, that you're looking into, we would love to hear from you.
Fantastic. Absolutely. You can hear me scribbling down furiously, Lucy. I'll drop you a note shortly after this. Again, if you've just joined us, we're just waiting for our MSPs to arrive. The parliamentary business slightly changed today. We're working around that. We didn't want to keep you waiting in the cold digitally. So any moment now, we're going to start properly. We can't start according to the rules of the Parliament until the MSPs are with us, but they will be with us very shortly. We're using the time to introduce ourselves. Please do feel free to unmute and say hi if you wish to.
Hello, I'm sorry, I've been struggling with a bad Wi-Fi connection, so if I disappear, that's why. But my name is Gaia. I work at Water Witness International in Edinburgh. We work in Malawi. We have an office in Blantyre and work especially in southern Malawi, in Mulanje and Chikwawa. And we do water stewardship and water security projects. So we work with different communities and smallholder farmers to understand the water risks and the challenges that they're having, and how we can work through those and then relay those challenges to government and other partners and other CSOs, organizations to work through them and create bigger change.
Fantastic.
And I'm excited to meet you all tonight.
Good stuff. Great to have you. Great to have you with us, Guy.
Just to confirm, David, that's Liam logging in now, so should be any moment.
Wonderful, fantastic. Thanks ever so much, Jack. Just to fill the final minute before Liam is with us, maybe just to note what I would have said as an AOB in the meeting proper. Just to note that there is a new British High Commissioner to Malawi since last we met as a group. That is Fiona Ritchie. Many will know her. She was the head of DFID Malawi when such a thing existed, and then the head of FCDO Malawi, the development director, and she has been promoted to be British High Commissioner. I'm sure you'll join me in wishing well Dave Beer, the outgoing British High Commissioner, and welcoming Fiona to her new role. Unless anyone objects, I would suggest that we as a group send well wishes to Fiona in that role. Now, I think Liam, fantastic, you're with us. Liam, these poor people have put up with me blethering on for 15 minutes But fortunately, we didn't get so desperate as to have to watch me dance. But Liam, over to you, and we will start properly. Many thanks.
Thanks very much indeed, David, and apologies everyone at the slight late running of business in Parliament, which has had a knock-on effect on this CPG and at least a couple of receptions that I passed en route back from the chamber to the office. But you're all very, very welcome. I maybe ask, have apologies and minutes already been done, David, or are we still to go through that?
Sorry to keep you hanging on there, Liam. No, we haven't. Well, I think we had to wait for you to arrive, but no problem at all. So apologies very quickly. John Mason, Sarah Boyack, Foyal Chowdhury, Jackie Bailey, Michelle Thompson, Sharon Dowie, Rachel Hamilton, Jenny Minto, and Beatrice Wishart are the apologies from MSPs that I've received. Back to you, Liam.
Great stuff. Thanks for that, David. Most of those members I saw sat in the chamber, and I'm sure, yeah, there's a lot going on in Parliament at the moment, so that is to be expected. In terms of the minutes of the last meeting, are there any comments on the minutes? And if not, could I have a proposer and a seconder of the minutes?
I'm happy to propose them.
Thanks very much indeed. Do we have a seconder?
I can second, Liam.
Right, thanks for that. Right, that's fine. I'm seeing a couple of hands up from Blessings and Willan. I don't know whether those are legacy hands from the.
I think they're legacy hands, Liam.
Legacy hands, grand. Okay, look. Right, well, look, let's press on. As a result of having rocked up late, I don't know, David, was there anything from the minutes that we needed to cover now, or can we go straight on to the main substance of the meeting?
No, I think we're good to crack on. Thanks, Liam.
Excellent. Well, obviously the substance of this evening's meeting is a presentation from Tafika, a community vision, and this is a community-based organisation established in 1999, the same year as the establishment of the Parliament, by community members in Ekwendeni in northern Malawi. The organisation envisaged a youth-reliant commitment to attaining sustainable livelihoods, behaviour change and development through collaboration with other partners. You have more details there on your agenda, and we're very fortunate to be joined by 5 of the organisations collaborating within Tafika, speaking predominantly from Malawi, I'm pleased to say. So hopefully the technology will bear with us. I'd maybe suggest that what we do is have each of the presentations, if there's any burning issues to be raised at the end of the presentations, if you want to indicate by raising your virtual hand or putting a comment in the chat function, we'll maybe come to you. But hopefully what we can do is open up and have a wider Q&A at the end of the presentations, allowing everybody to reflect on all that's been said. So with that, I'm going to invite first Josephine Mpango, who is Programme Partner Support Officer with Mary's Meals. So Josephine, the floor is yours for about 5 minutes, if that's okay.
Hello, everyone. My name, as said, is Josephine Mpango. I am from Mary's Meals, currently based in Malawi and working with different partners within the Southern Africa region portfolio. So the background from Tafika, as we know, they're a community-based organization, and we are currently collaborating with Tafika. As Mary's Meals, you know us, and together we are feeding 2 million children across the globe, and 1 million of these children are in Malawi. And we just wanted to take this opportunity to thank the Scottish Parliament, to thank the Scottish Government for supporting us for the continued support in our work, feeding children in a place of education. Of Tafika itself, in 2021, we, as Mary's Meals, partnered with Tafika to try out a new approach to do community-based school feeding. And within this approach, we are supporting and working with Tafika to work within 5 additional schools. Of course, we will go ahead, hopefully, to expand to additional schools. But in the meantime, we're working with the 5 communities with Tafika to run a community-based school feeding approach, where the communities there are growing a diversified set of crops, which include maize, soybean, and sweet potato. In addition to that, we are the communities are also growing cassava as a cash crop, which hopefully will, in the end, support the different functions of the project in the long term. The community and the headmen within Tafika have provided the land, designated the land, and they have also gone on to provide the labor to grow the food and the cook shelters. And through the project, about 4,000 children will feed in a place of education. And we are delighted to be working with Tafika in this different approach, as Mary's Meals, our existing approach, does ensure that we purchase all of the food locally within Malawi. However, it's exciting and very interesting to be working with Tafika through this approach, and to also ensure that in the long run, we are learning and developing a different model that hopefully we can expand to different areas. So thank you very much, with Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity to speak. If I may pass that back to you now.
Thank you very much indeed, Josephine, for packing so much into so little time, and that's very helpful. I notice I probably should have come to Blesco and Nyangulu and invited them to start off with their contribution. So I've just spotted a note in a chat function to me. So could I maybe invite Blesco to address the meeting at this stage? Is that possible?
Thank you, Mr. Co-Convener, for inviting us here today. We welcome the opportunity to tell you the story of our community organization. This story has many elements. It is a story about a community which has a clear idea of what it wants to achieve, but it is also a story about collaboration between multiple NGOs, including those from Scotland, coming together to help the community achieve its objectives. It is a story of coordination between NGOs, with each NGO sharing their knowledge and specialist skills to ensure the community gets the very best results. It is a story of a community and its NGO partners looking at development as a holistic, system-based issue and tackling many elements at the same time. And finally, it is a story about a community wanting to help itself and remove dependency on aid. I will briefly introduce our community organization and will then tell our story, pulling in 5 different speakers who will each talk about their work with us. In all, I think our story will take about 40 minutes to tell, giving you lots of time to ask questions and for discussions at the end, if the chair is happy with that. We will also circulate a briefing pack at the end of the presentation, so there is no need for you to take notes. We are at Tafika, a volunteer youth organization with more than 18,750 members, many from our sports club and schools, operating in the north of Malawi at Ekwendeni. Tafika operates in 545 local villages, and you can find us on the web at www.tafikamalawi.com. Tafika operates in the areas of sports, education, emergency relief, and sustainable livelihood. No one gets paid. At Tafika, we believe the people in communities need to work together to change themselves. Tafika's role is to provide leadership and vision, tools and funds to inspire long-term sustainable change. So what is that Tafika are trying to do? Simply put, it is education. Our main mission is to give children in our community the chance to have access to education, which will lead to better future opportunities. Tafika recognizes education is a complex system of enabling factors that lead to the delivery of a service. And we want to tackle education in its widest sense, starting with the basics. The Malawi government vision of 2063 lays out the high-level strategy for the nation and relies heavily on a youth-centric vision. Tafika's projects align closely with this strategy, in particular, Enabler 5, Human Capital Development, which examines the challenges of education and improved schooling outcomes. To get children to come to school, you have to remove barriers and improve the chances of success when the child is at school. Tafika worked with Zambia and Malawi Community Partnership, ZMCPA, a Scottish-based NGO specializing in pro bono consultancy, to come up with a wide-ranging plan of action. Edinburgh-based Nick and Katie James at ZMCP are in this meeting tonight. If Chair, you or CPG members have any questions for them later. Here is how we started our journey. We know many children in our catchment area simply don't have enough to eat. This means children are less likely to walk the long distances to school, and if they do get to school, their concentration level is low. So we wanted to start with food. We already had a relationship with Nourishing Minds, a small Swiss NGO comprised of Scottish experts linked to the Church of Scotland, and had been developing a new feeding model with them. We could see there was enough land and enough labor to grow food, but there was no money in the community for fertilizer and seed. Nourishing Minds provided the first funds for seed and fertilizer, and Tafika persuaded the headmen to designate land and the communities to farm the land and grow food for the children at school. Tafika set up mothers groups and youth groups and organized the communities, who then grew the food, milled it, cooked it, and fed it to their children. This model worked for 5 initial communities. We were desperate to expand this model to other communities and approached Mary's Mill with a plan to try an even better model. Mr. Chairman, I understand Josephine has already said about how Mary's Mill was involved. Let me thank Josephine for what she said. Now, food is a huge incentive for students to come to school, but Tafika recognized that this is just the first step in the educational system. We knew we had other significant issues and would need other partners to bring their skills and experience to help, and here are some examples. Mr. Chairman, can I hand over to Cindee from Formidable Joy?
Hello, everyone. Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for this opportunity to be here today. I'm truly grateful, thankful, humbled to be with all of you, especially my friends and family in Malawi. Formidable Joy is an NGO whose sole mission is to provide access to clean water in Malawi and only in Malawi. To date, we've worked on well over 150 water projects from Mzuzu to Chikwawa. We drill boreholes, we repair pumps, we install solar systems, which allows for actual running water. We fabricate tank stands, we kind of do it all. And our secret sauce is always the partners, the on-the-ground partners. Tafika's approach to development is a holistic one. They assess the needs of the entire community. Excuse me. Another basic need that they recognized was access to water for their schools that are in their catchment area. As you know, access to clean water is a struggle for so many in Malawi, especially in the rural areas. UNICEF estimates that nearly 1/3 of the population of Malawi lack access to clean water. Access to clean water, it allows for successful school feeding programs. It keeps children in school, especially girls. Women save time, schools attract better teachers, and sanitation and hygiene improve, along with so much more. Blesco spoke that Tafika focuses on the basics. I can think of nothing more basic than water. It is the basis of all development. Simply put, water improves the overall health and vitality of a community. I was actually introduced to Tafika because of my nearly 7-year-long relationship with Mary's Meals. Mary's Meals and Formidable Joy have collaborated on 70 water projects in schools where the Mary's Meals conducts their school feeding programs. Their partnership alone with us has impacted over 88,000 students to date. Once again, it's the basics: food, water, education. The former Mary's Meals country director spoke so highly of the dedication of the Tafika team and new way of working together that he encouraged us to get involved. So in 2021, during a pandemic and unable to meet Tafika in person, we said yes via a Zoom call. The goal was to prioritize the schools in need of water where Mary's Meals was going to conduct their new way of working together. And then finally, after meeting Tafika and Kate and Mick in person in November of last year, we upped the ante and decided that we would drill not 5 new boreholes, but 6. And we would also repair 10 more additional boreholes that were installed either by the Malawian government or other NGOs. Excuse me. These 16 water projects impacted schools, villages, and a health center, and brought back to life water sources that had been out of service for months and some even years. All new projects are fully rehabilitated projects, now even come with a wheelchair ramp. In addition, and most importantly, we trained women in the community to make sure that these projects would be sustainable. So they now know how to take care of their projects themselves. This leads us to 2022. The program was such a success and the need was so great at the catchment area that Tafika supports that we actually returned once again just a few weeks ago, and once again we drilled 5 new boreholes for the community that Tafika supports. In fact, today we were fitting a pump for a community, and in just 10 days when the cement dries, that community will actually have water once again. This leads us to 21 total projects that we have done with Tafika so far in under a year. It means thousands upon thousands of people have been impacted, and it's all because of people like Tafika who know their area so well and who know the needs. Thank you so, so much. This whole group of people is proof of what happens when we all work together. Again, I'm honored to be here. Mr. Chairman, if I could please hand this back to Blesco to continue their story.
Thank you, Cindee. Our communities now had water and food. We discussed, and with Mary's Meal, how we could ensure our meals met the minimum nutritional guidelines. We wanted to make sure the meal contained minerals and vitamins, and wondered if we could do better for our children. Mr. Chairman, can I now hand over to Donald from Global Research Program HarvestPlus?
Thank you, Blesco, and thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for this opportunity to speak. HarvestPlus is a program which is part of the International Agricultural Research Group, the CGIAR, and its mandate is to fight hidden hunger, to contribute in the fight against hidden hunger globally. We do this by making available nutrient-dense staple crops, also known as biofortified crops, to the underprivileged communities around the world, including Malawi. These biofortified crops are bred using modern non-GMO breeding techniques by incorporating the much needed micronutrients, namely vitamin A and iron, and zinc. We were invited by Tafika youth organization to work with them in sensitizing the local population on the production and consumption of biofortified crops, namely vitamin A maize and high iron beans. While vitamin A maize offers additional vitamin A to the consumers, high iron bean offers not only just iron, but also zinc. Together, these three micronutrients are essential for child development, especially. Communities are not used to growing or consuming biofortified crops, so there is a lot of work that is needed to change behavior and mindsets in our communities. Getting people to move from traditional non-staple crops to biofortified and more nutritious crops is a big cultural shift. And so Tafika and HarvestPlus have agreed actually to work together to promote the production and the consumption of vitamin A maize and high iron bean in 52 primary schools, including their surrounding communities. Since the partnership started in 2021, HarvestPlus has trained many youth volunteers who have been supporting these 52 schools and their communities in the production of vitamin A and high iron beans. We have actually established demonstration plots in selected schools, which help us to showcase the biofortified crops and let the surrounding communities see for themselves what the difference is from the traditional crops that they are used to cultivating. HarvestPlus has conducted many training sessions with Tafika youth volunteers, including field officers, community members, and the aim is to move most of the feeding and production programs to these nutritious food crops. By promoting biofortification, this kind of collaboration will help improve community health and well-being, as biofortification tackles the lack of key micronutrients in the local diets, thereby reducing the incidence of hidden hunger. Mr. Chairman, this is the story that I wanted to present, that we worked with Tafika so far, and thank you very much for listening. And I would like to hand it over back to Blesco for the next part of the story.
Thank you, Donald. As Tafika, we knew some of our communities had poor educational infrastructure, and we were keen to do something about this. In 2021, we approached Scottish-based NGO, Classrooms for Malawi, and asked if we could collaborate. One of the Miller's Mill communities was at Mavindidze school, where Classrooms for Malawi had an interest in developing infrastructure. We recognized that our local presence would help. Mr. Chairman, can I now pass the story on to Dezie from Classrooms for Malawi?
Hello, everyone, and sorry, Mr. Chairman, allow me to speak off camera, as right now I'm in the dark, as you can see. Mr. Chairman, thank you for this opportunity to add to the story. Our vision at Classrooms for Malawi is to alleviate poverty through education. We strive to provide a safe and conducive learning environment for the children of Malawi, which improves their attendance, academic performance, and aspirations. We seek to do this, Mr. Chairman, through 1, strategic national building programs, 2, provision of WASH, which stands for water, sanitation, and hygiene interventions, and thirdly, through the provision of teaching and learning materials. We work in partnership with the Malawi Ministry of Education and sometimes with international NGOs, usually with national or local NGOs, and most importantly, we also work with local communities. Classrooms for Malawi, Mr. Chairman, have been in existence since 2012, and we set out to do the following 8 things. 1, provide accessible and quality classrooms. 2, provide appropriate hygiene facilities. Thirdly, equip schools with relevant furniture. Fourthly, ensure adequate teaching and learning materials are available in schools. And number 5, encourage school gardens. Number 6, instigate feeding programs. And 7, offset carbon emissions from the construction process. To achieve this, Mr. Chairman, we no longer build using bent bricks, but we are now using bricks known as soil stabilized bricks, SSBs, and cement blocks. We get these from our partners, 14 Trees, which are an international construction company. So, Mr. Chair, sir, you can already see that this is in line with the global warming mitigation factors as expressed at COP26. Number 8, encourage community empowerment, and we do this through sharing of construction knowledge and skills, and economic empowerment. Mr. Chair, the school at Emazinyeni faces different unique development challenges. In order to meet some of the requirements set forth by the Malawi Ministry of Education, Science and Technology in its minimum education standards. In this case, Mr. Chair, Classrooms for Malawi chose to focus on standards 22 to 25, which best align with our mission and values. These, Mr. Chair, care and welfare of students, access, equity, and inclusion. Thirdly, management of buildings and facilities. And lastly, management of material resources. Through this partnership, Mr. Chairman, we have built a block of 3 classrooms at Emazinyeni Primary School. Tafika assisted us supervise the construction of the new classrooms. They acted as our local partner, and together, Mr. Chairman, we are pleased to report that we have successfully delivered this project. This initiative has helped to move children from learning under a church. Currently, these children are now learning in proper and purpose-built classrooms. However, Mr. Chairman, we recognize that this is just only one step further in the improvement of the school, because there is a lot that needs to be done at Emazinyeni primary school to provide a conducive teaching and learning environment. For example, Mr. Chairman, currently we are still looking for funds to rehabilitate 4 classrooms at the school. We are also looking for funds to build new toilets at the school. And we are also looking for funds to provide books and desks. Mr. Chairman, we are now over halfway through sharing our story. So please, may you let me hand over back to Blesco to continue with this story. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dezie. We recognize that having new school buildings is a big step forward, but we are also faced with the students having to sit on the floor to learn. So we devised a plan to tackle this. At Tafika, we have been using the proceeds from our community maize meal to fund other students from the Classrooms for Malawi site at Emazinyeni to attend the local trade college to learn carpentry skills. Together with Classrooms for Malawi, we are looking to find funding to get these students to mend all the broken desks at the school and build new desks so that every child has a place to sit. Our idea is that the students and the college will be paid for their work, but the students will initially trade their work for recycled carpentry tools donated by Scottish-based Barreno Village Spring and Scottish-based organization, Men's Shades. The provision of tools moves a major barrier to entry into the workplace for the new students, and we will allow them to set up their own businesses once their trade college studies are complete. To make this project work, Bananabox, another Scottish NGO, will provide the containers to transport the tools. This project is closely aligned with the Malawi government Vision 2063 policy, aiming of creating pathways out of education and into employment. Tafika see all these activities as the start of the educational process and recognize there is still a long way to go to make a fully functioning system. Quality teachers, school teaching resources, and additional infrastructures will all help here. However, right now, Tafika are focusing on purpose. In our local community, we have seen increases in early marriages and pregnancies and illustrious youth. So Tafika have been developing a major sports program to provide purpose and pride for our youth. Tafika Sports Academy now has 183 football teams and 72 netball teams, and we have provided a pathway to the national teams for the youth from our area. We also have 6 volleyball teams and 9 rugby teams and 2 basketball teams. Malawi is ranked as a world number 7 for netball, and we are so proud that Tafika have provided netball players for both the national youth and under 23 teams, and that our best football team now competes in the Malawi National League. Tafika Academy is targeting to have 1,400 teams with the support from Bananabox Trust and Smile Malawi, who are major donors of sports equipment. Mr. Chairman, can I now hand over to our last speaker, Willan from Bananabox.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson, for recognizing me that I will speak in this meeting this evening. I am Willan Kalinda, Director of Bananabox Trust in Malawi. Bananabox Trust aims to help people of Malawi help themselves out of poverty cycles. We use a hand up rather than a hand out model. Our relationship with Tafika started some 10 years ago or so, and we encouraged and inspired Tafika director to set up their sports academy, and we continue to support them in many ways. Mr. Chairman, sports gives the youth a purpose and focus. For example, the under 14 boys are achieving roughly twice in class performance at the national average in their standard 8 exams. This is because they are being fed and given a purpose in life. We are also proud of our senior boys who undertook some income generating activities and funded themselves into a league. This is self-driven, and that's the point we would like to emphasize on in our partnership with Tafika. This senior team is now in top regional league and are looking to be promoted into Malawi Super League in the nearest possible future. Tafika is now supplying players to Super League clubs, and we are delighted to announce that one of our girls has been selected for a national team, which will be representing Malawi in Birmingham in the Commonwealth Games. We are also so happy that 2 of our girls have been selected to a national national volleyball team. Mr. Chairperson, the aim of Tafika Sports Academy is behavior change, and this is already happening because we see youngsters doing better at primary as well as secondary schools, and others, those who have been selected into their college, they are also performing quite well. We enjoy working with Tafika as Bananabox, saying that sports brings communities together for a march. The community feels being a major success for Tafika. The Tafika sports team are regular participants in the community planting events and are encouraged to help at organized tournaments such as the Steve World Cup, where Malawi's answer to Archive McPherson will travel to communities to commentate on the Cup final. Mr. Chairperson, this kind of collaboration with motivational individuals within Malawi makes the community feel heard and valued and spurs them on to make part in the community action. As Bananabox, we have been a long-time supporter of Tafika, helping a Scottish sports team who wants to donate a kit by providing a low-cost way to transport donated items to Malawi. For only £15, we can send a banana box full of kit to Tafika in one of our regular containers. And we have sent thousands of boxes of sports equipment to help them develop the academy. We also support schools with sports equipment through Tafika. We would love to find a netball and football clubs in Scotland who would like to partner with Tafika to drive this activity even further. Mr. Chairperson, I would now like to hand over back to Blesco to continue with the story.
Thank you, Wirani. We have now told you something about the way we are trying to tackle the issues we face with education, our youth, and how we are trying to give them hope and purpose by reaching out to organizations who can help us. However, we want to eventually move away from being reliant on others so our communities can stand on their own 2 feet. Tafika currently on MS Mill, which community members use at a subsidized rate. This already provides an income stream for us, allowing us to fund the projects the community needs right away now. We see our future in being able to generate our own funds so we can make our own choices. With the help of ZMCP consultants, we developed a set of business cases designed to lead us towards self-sufficiency. I would like to share with you how we plan to do this. We borrowed a small-scale commercial forestry idea from UK-based Ripple Africa, who have planted 17 million trees in Malawi, and as a result, we built a commercial business case for a 10-acre forest. We offered investors unverified carbon credit from the trees we plant, along with loan repayments made once we harvest the trees. This £25,000 project is now fully subscribed with UK company SBS Insurance Services as a leading investor for the first phase. Tafika's trees will take 10 years to grow, and we will harvest 1 acre a year, replanting each time we take out a crop. For each £1,000 of investment, the value of 10 trees a year will be paid to the investor for each of the first 10 crop cycles, targeting a compound rate of return of 10% for the investment, as well as fixing over 600 tons of carbon. This long-term income generating plan is targeting £25,000 of revenue in year revenue, and every single year after that for an unlimited amount of time. This helps us generate the money we need to save our community forever. We know 10 years is a long time to wait for self-sufficiency, so our second business case is to build a safe hostel for students attending the local nursing college. This project is also using sensitive commercial loans from UK investors. The funding round has just started, with the first subscriber already having pledged the cash needed to buy the land. The hostel will cost around £35,000 to build and is expected to provide revenues of around £5,000 a year. Investors receive shares in the project and shares in the revenues. Tafika wants to be taken seriously, and we are confident we will deliver on our contractual obligations. Using sensitive UK investors help us move away from the impossible loan repayments rates, usually 25% annually, being offered by commercial Malawian banks. Tafika will continue to work towards becoming a self-sufficient organization, delivering what our communities want. We will retain our voluntary status, and we strongly believe that if communities don't help themselves, then why would others come and help? We have a number of other partners who we have not introduced to you today, notably Smile Malawi, a Scottish NGO focused on providing free dental health on an annual basis. Smile Malawi have also assisted us in construction of a primary school. Plan Malawi, they are assisting 800 plus children at primary school through their sponsorship program. They also help us in areas of child protection, development, and governance. The Raven Trust, a Scottish NGO focused on eye care, and Energy Africa, an NGO focused on energy efficient cooking stove for community use. Mr. Chairman, I hope you have enjoyed our story and can see how collaboration can lead to remarkable change. In a moment, I am going to go and join all of my friends from Tafika who are sitting in the next room. Together, we would also like to thank all of our partners for their support. With the chairman's permission, we welcome any questions from the cross-party group members through you, Mr. Convener. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Blesco, and apologies for not coming to you first, which would have made everybody's life, I think, a lot easier. But thank you to you and all of the speakers. That has been a fascinating summary of the wide-ranging work that's done by Tafika. I'm seeing questions coming through the chat function, so we will go to those in a second. Just before we do, can I extend a more formal welcome to my colleagues, to Stuart McMillan, John Mason, and my fellow co-conveners of the cross-party group, Alistair Allen and Alexander Stewart. Thank you very much indeed for taking the time to join us this evening. You'll note that the details of each of the speakers has been put in the chat function as well, so you have those if you want to make direct contact with any of the speakers later this evening or in due course. So thank you for that. I was particularly interested in Willan's presentation about the work being done by Bananabox to send sports equipment out to Malawi. I've been heavily involved with Ray French, who I know is also on the call at the meeting this evening, in gathering together football strips and equipment to send out to Malawi, having put out a plea to my MSP colleagues, and I'm delighted to say, though not remotely surprised, that the response to that has been pretty overwhelming, and there seems to be a great interest, the length and breadth of the country, in providing what equipment might be needed for girls and boys playing football in the academy. So I would like to also thank Ray for his assistance in that, and Willan obviously for the involvement of Bananabox in that. I'll maybe turn to questions, and the first couple are probably for you, Blesco. In that Stuart Brown's asked, obviously a brilliant and inspiring series of presentations, thank you. Very true. What would you say are the key ingredients of success of your project? And David has also come in with one on a similar theme, which from your experience, what's been the biggest challenge in inspiring different organizations to work together in a coordinated and collaborative way, and lessons that might be learned? It felt like such a natural fit, but I'm sure that perhaps underplays the work involved in bringing together these different organizations. So maybe Blesco, if I come to you in the first instance, and then if any of the contributors from the different organizations wish to add their thoughts, if you could maybe let me know, and I'll invite you in. Blesco.
Thank you. I think with that question, we are working as a team and we are working as a community organization. May I refer to my colleagues as the members that we should come in and tackle that question.
Okay, Cindee, you look like you're trying to take your mute button off, so I'm going to come to you first.
You know, I just think it's just so important for collaboration. I just think it's collaboration over competition. Can I just tell a 30-second story? And that is, I brought one of my board members with me to Malawi and I showed them the work that we'd been doing with water. And the first thing she said to me, she's like, okay, I get it. Like, they need water, but there's all of these other holes. So you fill the water hole, but they still don't have books and they don't have food and they don't have school blocks. And the only way that we're going to accomplish this is if we work together. And I just hope this kind of like data case study will inspire other people, because I just look at the work that we do as enhancing the local partners' work that they're already doing. So I hope that helps.
That's very helpful, Cindee. Are any of the other speakers, Willan, Josephine, Dezie, Donald, anybody else want to come in on this? Dezie.
Yes, me. Fortunately, power is back and you can now see me. Yeah, as Cindee said, it all happened so softly because of collaboration. And I would add to it that it was because we had a shared vision and commitment. Outside, for example, when we wanted to start building at Emazinyeni, the contractor went to the site and there was no water. There was a borehole, but it had broken down. So we contacted our colleagues who were into the water business per se to say, we want to start working, but there's no water. Can you go and repair the borehole? And they just did that. So everything went on smoothly. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Dezie. I see Mick and Kate. I'm not sure whether both of them are wanting to contribute or who will take the lead. I'm intrigued to see, but over to you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Kokavina. I was just wondering, I know that we have Shupo, who's the director of Tafika, sitting in a different room over there in Ekwendeni. And I was wondering whether he wanted to jump in and give a response about the way that he feels the whole organization has been collaborating.
Excellent suggestion.
Shupo, are you there?
Yeah, Marumbo Mundale. I'm the project manager for Tafika. One of the things that has made us to be successful, as my friends have said, is teamwork. We really work as a team. Apart from that, our projects are not top down, but they are bottom up, where the communities come up with their needs. So that is one of the things which has helped us. And one of our key tools is using voluntarism. Almost everyone, starting from the staff and even the communities, work on voluntary basis. So that has made us to own the programs, even the communities to own them. So those are some of the things that have made us to work well.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Can I just commend you on your ability to get so many people into your screen all at the same time? But you're very welcome. It's lovely to see you there. Josephine, I'm going to come to you now for your thoughts.
I could say that I think amongst all of the partners that are working with Tafika, most of us, usually when we interact with them, everyone's asking, what's the secret? What's the secret? What's the secret? But at the end of the day, I think that one of Tafika's strengths has been that they've been able to look at the bigger picture. And when all the partners are coming in, we're adding in we're adding into the bigger picture. And Tafika has been really good at ensuring that they are very clear about their needs and their commitment towards their community. And I think that for any of the partners, that becomes something which is very powerful and for us to support. So like you said, we're also commending Tafika for the volunteerism spirit and the commitment to their community. I think, as they have highlighted before, that they started the work for their own community and everyone else is coming in to help. Within Mary's Mills, we like to say that it's all about little acts of love. And we believe that in partnering together with all of the other partners, it's all little acts of love and passing that on to the Tafika community. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Josephine. What a fine message that is, a variant, I suppose, on what Cindee was saying earlier. Willan, you've got your hand up. Do you want to come in and offer your thoughts?
One thing I've learned from the collaboration with Tafika is that they don't look at it as a competition. They don't work to compete with anyone. So anyone who comes in the organization to work with them is welcome, and they give their best experience and work with everyone. So to me, that is a very strong component that Tafika is having. But just to deliver what is needed to help the community. So that's a strength.
Thanks, Willan. That's very helpful. I mean, as I say, it seems such a natural fit that I think it would be very tempting to assume that it all just comes together organically. But I think what you're saying there is that the work that Tafika does in being very clear about the objectives and supporting and nurturing those relationships is very important. I'm going to bring you back in, Blesco, and I'll throw in another question that you can answer at the same time, possibly. How confident are you that this would be transferable and readily transferable as a model into other communities? Is this something that you're looking to do? Is there a risk perhaps that you maybe overreach and that maybe puts at risk the work that you're doing and the collaboration you'd be able to form? I would welcome your thoughts maybe on that, as well as some of the lessons that you've drawn from this collaboration.
Sorry, I'm Shupo in the Blesco's room, the dialect of Tafika. So just to answer on some of the questions which you have given us, you know, Tafika itself, it is a youth voluntary organization which have a lot of volunteers in the community. And with our working system, that's why we are coming up with a lot of people, no competition, and working hard without paid. So that's why Tafika now has become popular, because of the system which we have. And we have got a lot of young people from the age, we start off with from the age of 10, also children are coming for Tafika, like to Sports Academy, and also other elders who are also joining us in our organization. If you can come to Tafika and see the women or also men who are over 80 years coming together, working together, you know, when there's also other people who are sharing their ideas, the past experiences to young people, we come together and do the work together. That's how Tafika is working, and we don't want to see other ages to be discriminated or to be separated from others. That's the hand which we are working together in Tafika.
Thank you very much indeed. That and we're sorry for misnaming you. There's a lot of photos on the screen and I'm struggling to keep track, but thank you very much for that. There's a couple of other questions that Dezie Luhanga has come back with, which I want to turn to, but I just wondered whether any of those that presented earlier might have a view on whether or not this is a model that could be readily expanded and exported to other communities within Malawi. Cindee?
Yeah,
oh, sorry, no. Shupo,
No,
I'm causing confusion here. I'm going to start
go
with
ahead.
Shupo.
hello.
Hello, yeah, over to you.
Yes, as we have already said that if some people want to learn from Tafika, the model is the system of working together voluntary without thinking of to be paid, and also they should know what they want in their community. You know, a lot of people in the Tafika system are the people who are based in the community. And those people who are based in the community, they know the problem of the community themselves. And with that system, they know the problem in the community themselves. Is how now they share this problem to others who are helping, like the coming up of Bananabox, coming up of Milk and Kate Gems, coming up of Nourishing Minds, Mary's Meal. It's the way how Tafika feels that if they have got the problem, they should share with others. So that's the model which Tafika use, that the problem is in the community and those problems they share with their friends, and their friends are the one who are helping the community.
Thanks for that. I can see Cindee nodding furiously there. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add there.
No, I just wanted to say that it's absolutely possible to replicate what we've all done and work together. But like I was saying before, the secret sauce is the local leaders. So if we can replicate Tafika, we can all do this again. But it's Tafika is the one who has made all this possible, because we all trust in their work. We know they know what the needs of the community are. So if we can clone Tafika, we can all do this again for sure.
Getting into cloning, that may be trickier waters. Mick, you wanted to come back in on this point, because I'm conscious I've got a couple of questions from Dezie as well. Mick, do you want to come in?
Yes, please. Thank you, Mr. Co-convener. I guess from our aspect at ZMCP, what we like to work with things that we genuinely believe can be transferable. So the reason that we got involved with Tafika was because we saw them as providing a kind of pathfinder mentality. There's absolutely nothing that they think they can't do, right? And that's an amazing thing. So what we're hoping to do is to bring other leaders from other communities to work with Tafika, just to see what's going on there and be inspired by them, because often what we see in Malawi are communities thinking that they're just on their own in isolation. And what Tafika have managed to do is to prove that when you collaborate on the scale that they're doing, actually you find you have lots of friends, and those friends can help you achieve your objectives, instead of being in that wilderness where you don't know anyone, you can't collaborate with NGOs because you've never heard who they are. But Tafika has shown that actually you can grow that community and can be successful. So we're hoping that that can prove inspirational for others.
And presumably it's a more attractive proposition for others to join or others to support as well, when you've got that collaboration as well. Right, I've got a couple of legacy hands up, Shupos and Willan, if you could take those down unless you want back in, and I'm gonna go to Dezie Luhanga's questions. One is to Blesco, but maybe Shupo can answer it. He asks, what are the age ranges of the children that you are working with? And then I'm going to come to Dezie with a question about how Classrooms for Malawi plan to achieve economic empowerment through the initiative. So can I maybe come to Shupo or to Blesco first on the question of the age range? Shupo. And Blesco as well.
We're together. I'm the board member and he's the director. Yeah. The age range for children that we are accommodating at Tafika is starting from 10 years.
Right.
And it's not only children, but his children 10 years, and we even accommodate elders, as the directors already mentioned, up to 80 years.
Right. Okay, that's helpful. And Dezie, I'm going to come to you about the question of economic empowerment and how that's facilitated.
Yes, actually, that has already been achieved, because what we do when we send contractors out there is to request them to ensure that they employ more the people from around the area where we are doing the work. So that's the first economic empowerment. And the other empowerment is in terms of skills and know-how in terms of how to build. We work with, for example, 14 trees who are international contractors. So when they work together, they impart these skills to the locals. At the end of the, when the construction is finished, the skills end with the locals and they earn a living out of that because they continue doing that within their own communities at a fee when they build. Thank you.
Thank you, that's very helpful. I'm just looking down the chat function. Apologies to Amy, whose Wi-Fi on the train appears to be interfering with her enjoyment of the meeting, but we'll obviously be able to share this. I think it's being recorded as well, so hopefully she'll be able to watch back at a later stage. I'm conscious of time. I think I promised to kind of finish around 7:30. I know Tafika are quite keen to turn the tables and to ask some questions of the group. So I wonder who wants to lead on that. Is that going to be Shupo and Blesco, or is it going to be Fama? Who wants to lead? I'm gonna hand over to Shupo and Blesco first.
Yeah, we have got a lot of members in this room, and we would like to send this question to our colleagues in another room. So let me hand over to Malumbo to ask our colleagues to start questioning.
Excellent.
Yeah, welcome again. Tafika, we are ready with some questions. And I'm not alone. You know, we are a gender-sensitive organization. So I think let me give the ladies a chance. Over to you.
I'm Brenda here, volunteer field supervisor for Tafika. Mr. Chairman, we understand the small grant part of the International Development Department budget has been scrapped. But you have heard our story, and you can see many groups like ours would gain a significant long-term benefit from some of 25 to 50,000 pounds. Is there a way for organizations like us to gain access to this kind of scale of funding?
Well, I think, as I said earlier on, the model you have of collaboration, I would have thought is attractive both to potential partners, but also for potential funders. And I know the small grant scheme has played an invaluable role in supporting a wide range of projects with what are relatively small sums of money, but which make a dramatic impact in the communities where they're invested. I think what I'd probably do is handle, in the absence of anybody from Scottish Government, I think, on the call, unless there's somebody lurking there on one of the screens I'm not looking at the moment, I'll maybe hand over to David, who has more sort of day-to-day and regular contact with government officials, because I think he'll maybe be able to bring us up to speed with where things are at. David, are you able to shed some light?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks ever so much, Liam, and thanks for the question. In answering the question, it's probably really important that I emphasise I do so wearing my Scotland-Malawi partnership hat rather than the parliamentary hat, and really ensure that everyone is clear I'm not from or part of or representing the Scottish Government in any way. But from our perspective, the Scotland-Malawi partnership is an umbrella network. You know, we recognise firstly how successful the small grants programme was from our perspective, both in terms of the impact it achieved for the comparatively little investment that it took. But also we recognise the strength of feeling across our members in Scotland and more importantly, across their partners in Malawi as to the loss of that programme. In fact, I think every single meeting we've hosted or been involved in the last 3 months, this has been the burning question that has come up. So representing that strong priority, that strong voice from Malawi asking this question, actually, it's well timed because I spent a chunk of this afternoon writing some recommendations from our perspective, the Scotland-Malawi Partnership's perspective, for the Scottish Government on exactly this question. And in the space left by the small grants programme, what could be done to support small organisations, recognising the damage and the concern that's there. So later on this week, the Scotland-Malawi Partnership will put those draft recommendations out to our members and to their partners in Malawi, and you'll be able to feed in your views about those recommendations and reflections for 2 weeks until the end of June. And then we'll put those formally to the Scottish Government. When I gave evidence, both in writing and in person, to the relevant committee and the Scottish Parliament, the committee was really interested in this. And in fact, in their report, they specifically asked the Scottish Government to meet with networks like the Scotland-Malawi Partnership, to listen to their views and those of their members, and to report back to Parliament on what was being done in light of those recommendations. So I think a great example of a very strong relationship between government, Parliament and civic society to represent exactly those views in Malawi. So by the end of the week, we will have put that out on our website, on the news section, and really value your input to it. Anyone can email me at any time if they'd like to input to our thoughts. Back to you, Liam.
Thanks, David. That's a very generous and open invitation. I'm sure we'll see you deluged, but thank you very much for that and for making that distinction between your role and the Scottish Government's role. As I say, it's important to make those distinctions. Let's go. I'm going to come back to you if there's anything else that you or colleagues wish to raise.
There is another question from the ladies. So let me just give them 2 questions.
Okay.
I'm Mary Mrewera, Frontier Food Supervisor, Tafika. Mr. Chairman, can you tell us if you have seen other examples of integrated collaboration between multiple NGOs and community organizations, as we are keen to learn from others how we can make things work better?
An excellent question. I'm tempted to say that yours is the finest example I've heard, but I'm sure we've had many CPG meetings where we've heard from other collaborations in different parts of Malawi. I think I'm going to throw this one back to David again, in case he is able to identify other groups, other collaborations that you might be able to not necessarily learn from, but even just share experiences, because I think you will have as much to offer as you will to gain from those discussions. David.
Thanks very much, Liam. And really, I want to echo what Liam and many others have said. I think this is a really outstanding example, a case study of collaboration and coordination. And perhaps what's most exciting about it is just how Malawi-led it's been, and it's been brilliant to have the Malawian side taking us through each section of this evening's meeting. So nothing but praise and encouragement for everything we've heard. Of course, our sister network in Malawi, the Malawi Scotland Partnership, or MASP, which I know works very closely with all of the organisations that we've heard from, continues to have a really key role in supporting that coordination, that collaboration, along with Tafika and others. But really, as I said, nothing but positive feedback. I think there's so much that can be learned. We often make the joke that if we all put egos and logos aside, we could achieve an awful lot more. And I think what better example than this evening as to why that's the case, and really just salute what Tafika and others have done. If we can all step out of our comfort zones, if we can listen as much as we talk, if we can identify areas of collaboration and shared endeavour and find innovative ways of working together for mutual impact, that's where the big benefit is. So really well done.
fine strapline on egos and logos. We could all live by that, I'm sure. Another question, I think from Dezie at Tafika.
Yeah.
I'm Tonge Muntari, Program Manager from Facilitator Organization. Mr. Chairman, how might we start to get in touch with sports clubs in Scotland who might be able to build a long-term partnership with us? As a Facilitator Organization, we take sports as our tool for behavior change. Thank you.
An excellent question. As I said before, I along with Ray French, who's on the call in the meeting here this evening, have been busily trying to gather together football equipment to send out to various academies in different parts of Malawi. It's a painstaking process. The relationships with different sports bodies or clubs, I think, will be key to that. I'll maybe invite Ray to offer some thoughts from his experience of what he's done on the football side. I suspect will be slightly different for different other sports bodies in Scotland. But Ray, do you want to offer your thoughts?
Yes, happily. Can you hear me? Sorry. Grand, super. Thus far, we've dealt with maybe a dozen football or sports in general organisations based in Scotland as a result of a mail shot that Liam put around all the Scottish Parliament MSPs. That's proved very productive, both in terms of contacts and also in terms of the amount of material donations that we've received. And I'm now the possessor of an attic that is straining with donated football kit. What's maybe was less expected, but is equally valuable, is the expression on the part of some organisations to do exactly what I think this question is addressing, which is establishing partnerships with academies in Malawi. And indeed, this will be news to Liam as well, because I haven't told him yet, but I very recently had the chairman of a local youth football team near Edinburgh express interest in partnering with an academy in Malawi. It was an informal chat, and I'm sure such relationships maybe already exist, unbeknownst to us, between organisations in Scotland and Malawi. But my sense is that there may be a number of teams in Scotland who will be interested in formalising links with corresponding teams and academies in Malawi. And of course, that has the great benefit of putting names and faces in front of the folk here who are donating kit, so they can see where the kit goes, how it's used, and generate a genuine relationship with the people involved. So we're almost getting ahead of ourselves here in that we've not really sent very much kit to Malawi yet. There's certainly lots more to come, but as a very beneficial tangent of what we've done thus far, I think the setup of partnering, maybe even us acting as matchmakers for clubs in Scotland and academies in Malawi, that would seem to be a very obvious way to go forward.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I had previous involvement with Scottish basketball after a previous visit to Malawi and a request made by somebody I met at the British Embassy in Lilongwe, who also had a keen interest in basketball. And I think, as Ray says, developing those personal relationships is probably the best way of going about that. I think that might again be one, as David said, that the Malawi-Scotland partnership and the Scotland-Malawi partnership might be able to broker by using those who are involved with both organisations to facilitate those contacts. So I know David will be taking notes, and Stuart as well. So I think maybe let's take that away and see if there's anything more specific we can come up with. It would be helpful to know from Tafika the specific areas, but you've referred to some of the sports here this evening, so I'm sure we can make some progress there. Albeit there are a few sports that have quite the same coverage as football in Scotland, despite our recent kind of underwhelming performances at a national level. So it wouldn't be the same, I think, necessarily the same approach as we've taken to football, but I'm sure there'll be an appetite there. I think the relationship, as we've always said, between Scotland and Malawi is an entirely unique one, a partnership. I think the profile of Malawi within Scotland is such that when you make these approaches, there tends to be a better reception, a better understanding of that relationship than you would maybe find with other countries. So let's use that to our advantage. But I'm conscious that we're now beyond the 7:30 deadline I set. So having arrived late, I am now finishing late, which is probably appropriate. Can I just extend my thanks again to Blesco and to all 5 of our speakers this evening. You'll see from a quick glance at the chat function how hugely appreciated those presentations, this discussion has been. It's been inspiring, that collaboration that I'm sure you don't take for granted, but it is very, very special indeed. And hopefully we'll see this as a model that can be replicated elsewhere and go from success to success. So thank you very much indeed for sparing the time to be with us tonight to highlight the great work that you're doing in Malawi. Hopefully we'll be able to support that. Again, can I thank my MSP colleagues for joining us this evening and what is I know a very busy evening in the Parliament. So thank you very much indeed. Dates and times for the next CPG meeting will be circulated in the usual way in due course. And so with that, I will bid you all farewell, safe home those who are travelling, and thank you very much indeed.